fishing news is brought to you by Navionics, Okuma, Yozuri, Evinrude, Lamaglass, and the Star Island Yacht Club in Montauk, New York.
Hey there, Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine with this week's web video fishing forecast for New England. Well, I'll let you know the February issue of the Fisherman magazine is out this week. We got some great winter articles from fishing you can do right now to some awesome how-tos to pass a cold winter day. And of course, you can check it out right now at thefisherman.com at your local newsstand, or of course for subscribers in your mailbox this week. So give it a look. Let us know what you think. For fishing options right now in that issue, what about a road trip down to Maryland for some mega tog? Something I talk about every year. Unfortunately, haven't had the chance to get in on it quite yet, but Frank Mihalic, one of our regular contributors, he outlines the ins and outs of this awesome fishery. It regularly produces some of the largest fish of the year, including the existing world record blackfish. And speaking of that world record fish, I actually just heard from John Johansen. He fished down in Ocean City, Maryland on Monday on board Bound Charters, the boat that produced the world record. He was fishing along with his dad, Dean, on Captain Kane Bound's again on Monday, and they had an insane trip with a dozen double-digit fish landed. Let's see, John's big fish was a 16.5 pounder, and his dad, Dean, took a 20 pounder on the trip. That is insane. I can't even imagine what that fish looked like coming up on, to go along with a dozen double digits as well. It's really, despite all the talk about it, it's somewhat underfished fishery down there. So give that article a look in this February issue. I'm sure you're going to be psyched to give it a shot, and hey, who knows, maybe you can get in on this bite this winter as well. For some local fishing that we've got here a little closer to home in southern New England, there's a lot of options. Be sure to check out the local section. We got you covered there for the New England fishing. We got some great subjects including targeting trout in open water locations throughout the winter in New England. We've got late season throughout the late winter panfish, specifically through the ice. But if you've only got open water options, the tactics are going to apply for you as well as an article from Frank Daigneault talking about some of the overlooked or forgotten fisheries that we have here in New England, talking about things like sea-run trout, something that I give a shot at every year from time to time, and something that really, really intrigues me. I've done it a few times myself, shore fishing for cod in the winter. It used to be a big thing down in Rhode Island specifically, before I was getting out there fishing, but I've done it a few times, haven't found any success, but every time I read about it, I got to think that there's the possibility these days to get a couple of fish. And every winter I run into the same cycle, though. I talk myself into it as well as then back out of it. And it's been a couple of years since I gave it a shot, but give the article a look. Maybe you will maybe it'll give you the urge to get out there. And of course, let us know if you do. I'd love to find out if anyone's finding any success on it. On the how-to front, if you're not looking to get out and fish right now, we got you covered. We got a couple of really good articles. Anthony Critis shows how to build a really simple but extremely effective hook-out device. And of course, Dave Anderson has his next installment of the plug building series, the annual plug building series. This time he tackles an Albie-sized pencil. It's about the same size as a lot of the tins and the epoxy type jigs that are out there. Great little size, and what's even better is it a double duty kind of plug. You can use it in the salt for albies, of course, bluefish, striped bass, what have you. But it also works over on the freshwater side of things. I can just imagine a big smallmouth bass exploding on a largemouth, or even a pike. You just never know. So give it a look. Next month, plug building. I just got the article from Dave, and I was surprised, honestly, that he was able to get the plug tackled that he did. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I will say it's a plug that has grown to have almost mythical background on it the last couple of years. A lot of guys have duplicated it or attempted to duplicate it, but Dave did the right thing, went back to the creator, found out how to make it properly, found some history on it, and he's going to have that for you in the March issue of the Fisherman magazine, so stay tuned. And then last up, before I get into the report, I got a little bit of an fishing access news item to report to you. We heard from the Rhode Island DEM this week. Access to Beavertail Lighthouse underneath the light around the front, the road, right around the perimeter, is being limited. They're shutting down that road due to heavy beach erosion, which initially started from Superstorm Sandy a couple of years ago, and it's just progressively got worse. So they're shutting down the road right around the front to vehicular traffic. You're still going to be able to access the shoreline and the lighthouse by foot. You just got to park a little further back in the main parking lots. This is obviously an excellent fishing location. You're still going to be able to access it, still going to be able to fish it. So for all the details on that, check out the news story posted right now at thefisherman.com. All right, jumping into the reports. While most of us, myself included, were sitting at home over the weekend complaining about the weather, 6-year-old Jackson Colzedge was out fishing with his dad on the ice, and he was rewarded with an impressive 37-inch, 12-pound northern pike for his effort on the 25th. Big congratulations to you. That's an awesome catch. Easily dwarfs any pike that I've caught through open water or the ice. But it just goes to show you there is some fishable ice out there. You might have to hunt around, poke around, move a little bit north, get a little creative in where you're looking for it. But it can be found, and of course, as always, be safe on the ice. And then last up, cod fishing. Remains about what it's been for the last couple of weeks. Inconsistent, unfortunately. I talked to one of my writers earlier this week, and he was out last week, he noted, fishing out of Point Judith. And he said fishing was so-so, as it was across all the boats. Had a couple of fish here and there on jigs was his method. But he commented on a couple of interesting items nonetheless. And that's that the fishing's been a little bit odd this winter. It's been inconsistent, like I said. The fish are sometimes on structure, and when they are, it seems like the first boat that sets up on them does great, while anyone else not right on top of them has a bit harder bite on the day. Another thing is the fish aren't always oriented on structure. A lot of times this winter it seems like they're just, for lack of a better term, just milling around the open flats, picking up whatever they can along the way. And it seems to be they're eating a lot of crabs this year, reflected by the fish that they are catching, keeping, harvesting, and filleting. They're finding a lot of crabs in the belly. So they're just kind of milling around, which works great if you're able to get on a drift bite, which it looks like we're going to have this week. We've got some decent weather, a bit cold, but good for drifting. So maybe the next couple of trips will be even better. And with that decent weather, most of the boats have multiple trips scheduled in the coming days, hopefully stringing together some back-to-back trips, which always helps improve the productivity on the trips this time of the year. So if you want to get out and fish this week, want to get onto the cod boats, call your boat of choice, verify what day they're sailing, and reserve your spot at the rail. Even if the fishing's a little slow, it beats being stuck home indoors like I am here today. So, as always, if you plan to head out and fish this weekend, be sure to start off your trip by visiting thefisherman.com.